Good morning, everybody. Before we begin, I'm just going to ask if everybody can hear me and if it's possible for you to raise your hands in the, there we go. Simon's first on it. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Class, you may put your hands down. So thank you for joining us for the 12th episode of our ReadyTech Remote Control series. My name's Nick Bishop. I'm the client and partner experience person from Vetrac. With me is Adam Cunningham. The remote control sessions we're running are all about how ReadyTech can support education and education institutes and our customers as they look to transition to a more digital online remote operation model. ReadyTech has covered a selection of content in our earlier remote control sessions. They're all available online for you to consume at your leisure. There's a lot of discussion at the moment talking to how businesses, not just in education, are looking to transition to this new model and what that transition looks like. Now, you can find this information and previous recordings on our site, readytech.com.au/remote control. But on to today. Joining me today for this session will be Adam Cunningham from Alchemy. Adam has been running education businesses for the last 13 years. In those businesses, he's helped RTOs analyze and determine which of their marketing investments are performing well and where others are underperforming, allowing the businesses to focus on the best source of opportunities for their success. Alchemy provides its clients with deep and accurate real-time reporting and insights into their actual sales and marketing ROI with full transparency. You can be confident you're spending your marketing budget where it counts. Alchemy evaluates and accurately attributes your offline revenue generation back to each of your marketing campaigns and investments. So with that long introduction, today's session will look at Alchemy's solution and how you can best determine where to focus your marketing spend to attract and retain learners in the market. So I forgot to click the slides because
there we go.
Oh, let's go back. This is the one I go to. So sorry about that.
Oh, good.
A little early. I need more coffee. I'll hand over the screen sharing now to Adam. And Adam, please take it away.
Cool. So here we go. Okay. Can you see my screen? Has it come up yet?
It has not yet.
Not yet. Hang on. Bear with me. Screen share. There we go. All right. And then we get into present. How's that looking?
Much better. All yours, sir.
Back on, back on. All right, cool. Thanks everyone for attending. It's my first webinar, so I'm a bit excited too. And thanks, Nick, for the introduction. Today's really about Vetrac and Job Ready. I just asked if we could put something together that would help RTOs look at how they can, drive profitability going forward. And so, we've just done that. We've kept it simple. It's very high level. Hopefully, we'll be able to provide a few nuggets for you today. And if there's any questions, fire them in. Nick will answer the ones that he can, and those that he can't, he'll hopefully address with us later on. But a bit about us. So yeah, we've been around since 2007 in different forms. We've been Do More, which is Australia's largest education marketplace back then, which is our original sort of passion project. So we had about 2,500 course providers and courses online and bookable, kind of like an eBay model back then. So it was an awesome business. It was about 7 years too early, I think, for its time, but we learned a tremendous amount about the education market all the way from short courses through to higher ed under Do More. And there's a lot of investment in there as well over that time. And that sort of is what brought around Alchemy and the Enrollment Lab. So the Enrollment Lab is a business we morphed into after that, which is a performance marketing agency just for education. So we're doing paid search, social, lead gen of all sorts, SEO, building platforms, but we're also doing consultancy. So we do things like edu-specific sales training, recruitment. We run student concierge and run student retention programs under that banner as well. And that was a great business. And underneath that all the way, we were measuring the performance of those activities using our own platform in Alchemy. And the last couple of years, we've brought that forward as the main brand. And largely what we are doing is helping education providers, for the most part, understand marketing to revenue attribution, so you can make really clear-headed decisions about how and when to invest in marketing and what kind and when not to. Sales performance management, making sure that all of your enrollment teams are running efficiently and effectively and are closing deals, essentially, and now student retention services too. So that's just a bit about, I guess, our heritage and our involvement in the education space. A few of the brands that we've worked with over the years, we've worked with hundreds and hundreds, particularly under the Do More brand, but these are some of the guys that we've worked with and helped over recent times. But here are the three things that we thought we'd focus on today. So that we think is really critical, not just because we're coming out of a strange time with COVID, but just in general, this is really how do you become really efficient and effective with your marketing investment strategy, and how do we make sure we've got a really high functioning enrollments team. And so the first one is how to measure your marketing all the way through to enrollments on a one-to-one basis and increase your ROI. And so there's some important parts of that. Being a one-to-one basis is critical. How to set quality assurance standards and deliver call monitoring that increases enrollment. So again, hopefully a bunch of you are already doing this, but we'll just take you through how we go about it, and that might inspire some new thoughts for you. And then how do you use all of the data that you've got available to you to actually inform a marketing investment strategy that's going to be effective, and so that you can actually forecast your revenues with some level of certainty. So they're the three areas we thought we'd cover off. There's a couple of extra bits and pieces as we go, but we'll get into it. So look, the first one's pretty basic, and in as far as track all your leads is the rule. But we find most often when we engage with clients that they're just tracking lead forms. So they'll go, we're spending money in paid search or social, whatever it is. We're getting lead ads coming through. Yep, phones are ringing and other things are happening, but we're really just measuring the effectiveness of our lead gen based on lead forms. And so we say, look, you've got to track it all. So phone calls, chats, emails, even expos, whatever you're doing, you've actually got to get all of those leads in there. And as importantly, you need to dedupe them. So, a couple of key points are, if you're not yet tracking calls, and some of you might be, hopefully, but if you're not, you might be missing, say, 30% of the leads to attribute against a marketing channel. And often they're the best ones, so that they've got the highest propensity to enroll. And if they're your best source and you're not tracking them, that's definitely something to jump on. Same with chat. So chat can be messy, it can take up resources. People complain about quality sometimes, but being the company that's tracked chat all the way through to revenue over the years, it's definitely a valuable source. So if you're running a chat platform, it's important you include that as well. And emails really, so many websites still have email addresses like info@RTOX, whatever it is. Inquiries come through those places. So definitely make sure that you're tracking them out. But as I say, dedupe them. So, one of the errors we see in marketing measurement often is that a student will come through a lead form, they'll engage in some way, shape or form, they'll call 2 days later, and what will happen is everyone will be counting every interaction as a lead. It's not. So, we set rules in our system where it's like, if they don't call, if they call more than once or contact us more than once in one way, shape or form in a 45-day period, it's not a new lead, so it will just count that as one. So that's the real basic view of making sure you're getting all those inbound channels locked off and you're capturing everything. The next thing, of course, is tracking everything else. So depending on how sophisticated your marketing strategy is, it might be just that you're running Facebook and Insta, and that's fine. Or you might be doing SEO and paid search. So once you get a few channels going, it's actually really important to understand what's driving what. And if you've got affiliates like Candlefox or Career FAQs, you want to know, see it all in one place. So you can actually have a look at a cost per acquisition by channel and investment, so you can start working that through. And also getting all that data through on the financial level, going, well, what is a phone call costing me for this particular course, and how many of those are converting? So the next piece is obviously, well, what is converting? How do I get a complete ROI view? And that's by appending that data directly one-to-one to your enrollment data. So today's really about, all the reason why this is happening today is because we've got an integration and partnership with JobReady and VetTrack, where your enrollments can automatically appear within Alchemy, and all you need to do is pin in your API in your marketing platforms like Facebook, AdWords, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, and this reporting becomes available to you. So, but if you're not going to use Alchemy and you're looking at, and you might have like a stack, that you're sort of Frankenstacking as you go, then, if you're covering off these fundamentals, and that should put you in a good place. Or if that's your ambition, then, these are the things you want to be looking at. So, but what I might do now is I'll just show you how we do our reporting, and that again might inspire you to more of your own, or inspire you to sort of join in with us at some point down the road. So So we've got a few parts to Alchemy. So, we've got a marketing performance management piece or marketing attribution piece, which is what we're looking at here. We've got a revenue planner, which we'll get to later, and a call QA piece as well. But this is really how we view the world. So marketing investments here is looking at, in this 30-day period, how much money is being spent. So this is obviously looking at a higher rate example. Someone spent $400,000. We've got 2,500 unique leads. We know from our tracking that 1,700 of them are actually inbound calls. We can see call quality, which I'll get to a little bit later. But we can actually see enrollments from this money so far, the current conversion rate, what's it costing us to acquire a new student, and the revenue so far. And so I keep saying so far because it is an aging report. This is actually to understand the effectiveness of marketing. And so the way we view the world as marketers is, it's not just how much money did we spend in a 30-day period and how much money did we make in a 30-day period. Because if it takes you 60 days to enroll a student, then you're looking at the wrong data. Because this investment will mature over the next 60, 90, 120 days. If you're doing international student recruitment, it might mature over 3 years. And so this is where you want to look at, let's come back to this date range again in 3 months and understand how well that $400,000 performed, because this might turn into 250 enrollments, 14% conversion rate, whatever it might be, $1,000 cost per acquisition. So when you're measuring marketing, give marketing the opportunity to mature. And don't rush to judge it so quickly. I think what's the old saying, like marketing's the first to get kicked and the last to get thanked. So this is a way to view it evenly. We have a bunch of reports here around channel activity and contact methods, and you can look at it at sales rather than just a lead volume point of view. So what contact methods are actually driving enrollments or what channels are. But down here's what I wanted to show you. So at a more granular level, you can look at your investments here. We can showcase this in many different ways, or you could do it, if you can do it at your end, you can do it by channel, which is very high level. We prefer to actually do it by course. So for example, it might be faculty and then a course, and then it'll actually show the marketing activity under each course for paid search, retargeting, whatever it is. But for this example, we can see how much money's been spent. So on paid search here, how many leads it's generated, and the cost per lead. And this is usual data that you can get anywhere. With our integration with JobReady and VetTrack, we can now instantly append enrollments, look at conversion rates, pull in revenue, derive a cost per acquisition, and from other parts of our tool, look at call quality if we needed to. So now you've got a much clearer picture of what's actually working and what's actually costing you per marketing channel, or depending on how it's laid out, if it's got courses in there, or faculties, what it's actually costing you. So you can actually start to think about how you might optimize in there. If you see any red flags in a place, and if you've got call recording coming through, use it. So line that up with your channel data as best you can, and then go and review it. So if there's a red flag, be able to go into Facebook related calls, or go into AdWords related calls, and have your marketers review them. So you can play the audio out and go, cool. And if they're saying, look, I'm just inquiring about the MBA, or I'm just inquiring about a Cert 3 in aged care, you go, cool. Marketing jobs, pretty things like, hey, I'm just inquiring about the job that we saw online. Then you can go back and trace it out to your campaigns, going, they're confusing the messaging, and we had some keywords in there that were employment-based traffic as opposed to, training traffic. So that's really a high-level view. We have one other area for the guys actually in the tools, where we just pull in all of the platform data, say out of Google, AdWords, and we append the sales that way. So that way the guys that are actually having to optimize rather than just report can actually get quite granular on campaigns or keywords or whatever it might be. And it's out of here that they can do things like, keywords that generate clicks but never a lead. And so you can start pulling that spend away and reinvesting that somewhere else. Or you're generating lots of leads but never an enrollment. So you can pull that spend away and then use that in another place. But I can go through this another time if anyone's interested in looking at that. So getting back to, cool, hopefully that made sense. Nick, tell me if someone's saying it doesn't make sense. I'm happy to cover anything off.
No questions so far, but
okay. If I'm talking too fast, it's a thing I do. So I won't be insulted if I need to slow down. But all right. So let's pretend that we've just sorted out marketing. So now you're running really efficient marketing campaigns. You can see what's coming. You know how to sort of turn things up and down a little bit and quality check it. But you know that at least that your money is turning into money as opposed to not so far. So the other part of it is going, cool, we're still investing all this money in marketing. How do we make sure our enrollments function is actually making the most of every opportunity that's coming through? And again, hopefully some of you guys are already doing this. But it's about setting up a core framework. How do we get consistency of delivery out of our team? So your team might be one person or a part-timer, or it might be a floor of 20 or 30 agents sitting in a room, being fed leads all day, every day. And so, as you get bigger, you need to get more sophisticated. But as a baseline, when you're employing an agent, you need to make sure that they know how to do a good job. And that is by setting up a core framework is a part of it. So you've got all things like, your dials per day and talk time and average handling times and all that sort of stuff, which is really important. But this is actually how well am I selling and how to do a good job at that. So core framework, if you don't know, is really just going, what are the 5 or 6 things that are critical to occur in every call? It might be the introduction, it might be identifying the emotional need that the person has as to why they're inquiring about a course. It could be, how do your courses, meet their emotional needs, if you like? How do you deal with inhibitors to an enrollment, and how do you actually close the deal? And so, if you build that as a framework, and we're happy to provide that as an example in here as well, that's really important. The second thing is to make it really clear as to why it's important. And that's about building out a document called a standards document. And so that's actually the why and the how of doing it. And then it's also a calibration piece going, this is how we're going to score this going forward. So that way everyone's really clear. Your agents, as they come in, you've got this living, breathing document and process where it's really clear what they need to do. And then the next thing that needs to occur is it needs to be monitored. So, it's nice to have a rule book, but if they're not doing it, or if you're not checking, you won't know. And so we recommend that you monitor from a sales capability perspective, between 6 and 10 calls of decent length every month per agent. It's normally, you don't need to do every call like for compliance, like you would for compliance, but for this, it's really just about understanding where they're at in their capability, which you can do in a handful of calls rather than every call. And then after that, that'll actually help you identify which part of the call, is it they're not great at connecting with the emotional need, or they're not very good at dealing with inhibitors or actually asking for the enrollment. So you can actually just work on those specific areas and watch them improve over time. So again, I think I might just quickly just show you how we do it. And so feel free to be inspired by it and take some tips. Otherwise, if you're interested in using the tool, we'd love to hear from you. So essentially, what's important is that you've got your call recordings coming in somewhere, and then close by, you can actually build in your KPIs reports to score. So we can see here Ryan has been reviewed. We can come in,
that's right,
play this call. Sorry for my text messages. Play the call, and you can actually section out parts of the call as well, saying, look, here's where you failed on the introduction or whatever it might be. Probably nothing as harsh as that. But you can come down here and start scrolling through and then scoring these calls. And that creates this spider graph. So on a glance, our agent, Ryan, when he logs in here, he can actually see how well he's done automatically. He can go down to each KPI. He can take his feedback. He can look at his scores. And he can actually come in and reply. And equally, if you have a team, let's say you've got 4 and 5 and you're planning on hiring more, we've got videos here as well. So, these are videos that we or you can put together, but they are videos that speak specifically just to that piece of the call, and it helps them speed up. So it's kind of like, hey, Ryan, great. I think you missed an opportunity here. Go and check out the video. In he goes. Done. So once that's all completed, we get an overall call score. And so Ryan gets to see this in his own environment, and you guys are letting them know that they're being supported and coached and monitored all the way through. But that score also, we feed back to marketing, which we'll talk about a bit later on as well. So just heading back in. Hopefully that made sense. If you need a hand with anything, I'm happy to give some free advice around setting up a core KPI framework, and also point you in the right direction if you want to build your own standards document, or if you want that done for you, then let us know. So, but they are sort of critical pieces, and often left out. People are too busy on efficiency. Just, how do we get 120 dials? How do we get 40 conversations? How do we get our average handling talk time, like our average handle time down, etc. We're the opposite. How do you have the most engaging conversation that's actually going to inspire confidence in prospective students to actually move forward and enroll and feel good about it? So that said, another approach to this is something we're just putting into Alchemy at the moment. And again, it's not unique to us. Like, you might be able to hack this together somehow. But off the back of each call, Alchemy can send out a Net Promoter Score survey via text or via email. And it's really, we can base it on their experience they've just had with us. And so how likely are they to will promote us, if you like. So, you know, for those of you that aren't familiar with Net Promoter Score, it's widely used. It's just a great CX measurement tool or experience tool. And it asks, as I say, ask one question. If they want one question, if they score between 0 and 6, they're not happy with your service that you provided. So that can actually get marked against an agent. If they're 7 or 8, it means they're okay. 9 or 10 is where you obviously want to live, given the green faces. They're the guys that are most likely to sort of talk positively about you guys. And so, you know, it'll look something like this. So, you know, Jenny consistently gets a 9, Robert's on average getting a 7, and Sam's getting 5. So while it might not take all that energy and focus on sales capability, it's taking another angle going, are we leaving our prospective students feeling good and happy? So that's that piece. Okay. So we've got all of your, you've got all of your marketing data, your channel data, and all of your sales data pinned together somehow. You're able to tell by channel and course, you know, what a cost per acquisition is. You know, now it's like, well, how do we know if I could replay that all again? How would I spend my money now that I've got all that information at hand? So the way, this is really critical, because typically the way marketing decisions get made in lieu of having good data is, you know, a finger in the air, or, you know, trusting your marketing team or your agency, you know, and when you're dealing with agencies, your agencies are largely incentivized to have you spend more. So they're just going to constantly come at you with ways going, hey, you should do this and you should do that. And then they'll give you reports that are largely incomplete because they're all about leads and not necessarily sales. So this is a way for you guys to pin it all together and actually make smarter decisions and feel comfortable that you can test everything in a safe way. So this is our revenue planner. So we can just go and create a date range here that we wanted to review. So it's our current period. We can say, again, here's all our high level stats and some graphs. Down here is the investments that we've made to date. And so, you know, what we really want to focus on is what is it actually, you know, costing us to acquire a new student through a channel. And again, if you're set up by a course and then marketing channel, it gets really granular. So if I'm doing an MBA or I'm doing a, whatever it might be, and I'm doing course specific marketing underneath that, then that enables you to get really tight here. But in this example, it's really looking at the cost per acquisition here. So, so for example, organic, you still need to be a smart marketer to use this tool, but retargeting, okay. So hypothetically, if we could add, I don't know, another $4,000 to retargeting, and all things being equal and not taking into consideration diminishing returns. So those of you that are hands-on marketers, you know, you just can't double budgets and expect double leads, double enrollments. But this is an indicator here going, okay, well, I think I probably could lift that $5,000 or $4,000. So you can see the difference down here. So we've gone $4,000. We've added another 75 leads. We've taken in 6 enrollments, and we've added $16,000 here. So that's not a bad investment. But now I'm $4,000 overspent. So I might take that off Facebook here. So now I'm back to neutral. And my cost per sale has gone down 57. I'm now up to 14. I think display, for example, here, it's costing $1,500. It's better than $5,500. Maybe I can put another, I don't know, $6,000 in there. So now I'm $6,000 up in investment. I've got 9 more enrollments and my revenue is $24,000 and my cost per lead's gone down. So you can start playing with this tool here in that way from a marketing strategy point of view, based on your actual data all being fed in at the same time and blended with your enrollment data. And the other thing that you can do too is going, you know what, we're coming to, you know, mid-year or new year. I think these conversion rates typically would be higher than this. So can we look at, say, paid search here turning into 10%? We're going to incentivize our sales or enrollments team, in some way to make that happen. And again, here on paid search, let's make this one 8%. So basically, we've spent extra $6,000, which we might be able to clean out of here somewhere else. 63 leads, 22 more enrollments. We've got a project to do here on increasing conversion rate, but overall, we're $57,000 up, and our cost per acquisition is $200 down. So you can use this in lots of ways, particularly effective if you have to trim budgets. So where can I take money out for the least amount of damage? But in times that I think are ahead for everybody, how do I invest in the right way to actually get the most bang for my buck? So that's our revenue planner. So I think for you guys, the tricks here are, if you're not using a tool like this, making sure that it's clean and it's right. And, if you've got someone else doing your data for you, just sense check it, because often you can look in someone's spreadsheet and you can just see equation errors and those sort of things. So just that's our tip. It takes a long while to put that stuff together. This is only a calculator. It's not a true forecaster. It's not a guarantee of outcomes, but it's just something to use all your data in real time. So, get this out of the way. Oh, that was it. So, look, they're the three things that we typically focus on with all of our partners, and depending on how sophisticated their business is or how large it is, it gets quite granular. We provide consulting around performance. We can deliver some of it too. But for the sake of what we're here to do today, it was really to just give a little bit of value and just let you know that there's an easy place that you can now just plug into with all your enrollment data available. But yeah, like I say, if you need a hand with anything, happy to talk about it, even if you're not planning to use us in the future. But yeah, just like to connect with people and see what we can do. So that's it.
All right. If there are any questions, please pop them in the Q&A section of the webinar. And I'm going to flick back to. Do we have the Q&A screen up now?
Yep.
Oh, jolly good. I'll even remember to click the slide in a second to,
cool.
to move on to the next one. So, right, let's see if there's any questions coming in. Talking a bunch, this lot.
Cool. Must have been very thorough. Yeah.
I missed out on most of the webinar. Yep, happy to send the recording. We'll actually be posting this recording up on the remote control section of the ReadyTech site. That's readytech.com.au/remote-control. So that'll be up a little later on. Question from Sharon. Are there many small RTOs using this software? Adam.
Yeah, so yes is the answer. And we grew out of small RTOs. So we've had RTOs that had 3 staff in it, and might have been just doing a little bit of paid search, a little bit of social, and then 1 magazine. And the owner of that RTO just wanted to know there was somewhere to go for the truth when he needed it. And so, yeah, we do have small plans to match. So we do have small RTOs, and we're all the way up to higher ed providers. So, you might be spending $5,000 a month or something like that, or you might be spending $1 million, as some of our clients do. So yeah, it scales.
Okay. Question from Simon Gray. Hello, Simon. Hi, Adam. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Small RTOs. How can your system assist?
Yeah. So just in that. So I guess the prerequisite is that you are you're investing some money in marketing. You feel like you're not in control of the outcomes of that marketing, and you're selling over the phone. So if you're doing all online, this is probably not the tool for you. And if all the transactions happening online, but essentially we're saying you're spending a couple of $1,000s in marketing and your enrollments happen somewhere else and it's recorded in VetTrack, we can pin it all together for you. And then we can help you understand what you need to do next to grow. So for example, one of our clients has been with us for about, well, they've actually been with us since we were Do More, but they've gone through the whole journey with us. And when we were doing their paid search for them at the start, they were spending maybe $1,500 a month on that. So many years on now, we've helped them, and they're now at a point when they're spending around $30,000 a month. So they've grown, and we can't take all the credit for that, but obviously our marketing and lead generation and support around that has been key, but obviously they run a great business as well. So that's how we would help.
Simon says thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. If anybody would like to get in touch with Adam, you can go to the Alchemy website, or you can reach out through ReadyTech. We're happy to put you in touch with Adam. More than happy to put you in touch with Adam. Let me click forward to my next and final slide. Here we go. We do have some more webinars coming up as part of the ReadyTech remote control series. We've got financial guidance, cash flow planning for your snapback, student engagement and motivation, behavioral science. Now, these are both coming up this week. And we've got one for the 4th of June, embracing digital transformation, with Mark Cameron. So if any of you are interested in those, please feel free to visit the remote control site and sign up for them. Again, thank you very much for coming along today. Thank you very much, Adam, for presenting.
Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for taking the time to catch up.
And again, if anybody thinks of some questions later on down the track that you happen to have forgotten or think about later on, please send them through. Happy to put you in touch with Adam or get you an answer. Yeah, thanks for coming along.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
Take care, man.